I was raised in a single parent home, actually.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
My dad was in Africa, Nigeria predominantly.
Okay.
So I think obviously my mum and my dad had broken up by the time
Yeah,
she made her way to the UK.
yeah,
So yeah, I was raised here, and then my mum sent for me. So I was born in Nigeria.
yeah.
Um, and my mum sent for me when I was about 7 years old.
Oh,
So most of the time was spent with, and on top of that, I'm a single. Well, is it single? An only child.
oh,
So
okay.
I didn't have no brothers and
Wow.
and
Oh, okay.
and sisters around. But I
Ah,
had a lot of family, friends, siblings.
mm,
Um, well, in terms of family, friends, and I guess around me. But I was in quite a unique place in terms
yeah.
of
Bro, sorry. I'm wondering, whilst you're talking, I'm just gonna take notes as a reference points because I want to ask you some questions around that as well, bro. So yeah,
yeah. No, no worries. Yeah,
yeah,
so
go on,
in
bro.
terms of what I mean by unique is that obviously my mum's got brothers and sisters, but none of their children is my age as well.
Oh,
So that's what I mean by like in terms of I was just born in the middle of nowhere, I
yeah,
think
yeah,
in
yeah,
some
yeah.
respect.
Wow.
But yeah, no, but I still had like a lot of family friends and all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff, and we would see them quite often on the
yeah,
weekend. But growing up, so I mean, being a new, if you like, immigrant in the country,
yeah,
um, the first couple of years was getting acclimatized to this new space.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Of course, man. I
to the
can imagine, bro.
new,
Oh, yeah,
exactly. So in terms of getting it acclimatized, going through education,
yeah,
um, grew up in Fulham, as you
yeah,
know. So went to was it Beaufort House at first, and then
yeah,
when that closed down, went to St John Lilly.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was really just kind of acclimatizing myself,
yeah,
trying to kind of make friends within, the local vicinity. And obviously, then obviously you get to, you wouldn't, because I didn't know much or know a lot, and my mum also was quite new to the country as well. So in terms of, for instance, education, we
yeah, yeah.
didn't know we didn't know how the system works completely. You know,
Mm,
we just went to the local school. I just was put in the local school.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, you know, it was not a thing where like, we knew, okay, well, this is how you get to the best schools and this
yeah,
is how
yeah,
you
yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
Wow.
Um, so it was one of those. Then
Bro, can I just ask you something about that? Look, see, whilst you and mum were trying to navigate this, like, say, okay, like, I'm just trying to picture as a child, my world would
yeah.
be confused, just uncertain. Yeah, how did you? What was the relationship between you? I mean, you and your mum like? Was you able to just talk to her on that kind of level? Like, mum, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. And like, like you're lost. You just
Yeah, yeah. In terms, there is, I guess, yeah, in terms of I was being able, but then to be real honest with you, at
yeah,
that time, at that age,
yeah,
I didn't even know what I was doing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're in full guidance mode.
Ah,
Um, at 7 years old and all that
yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
It's literally when it came to roughly about secondary school when I was making choices with secondary school, and there
yeah,
again, I didn't really know what I was doing. I
yeah,
kind of at that age followed the crowd as
yeah,
you would do. So
yeah,
in terms of in hindsight, you could look at the better schools because we grew up in Fulham,
yeah,
and Fulham has amazing schools in Fulham, and it
yeah,
also has like schools that were not so desirable.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, I wouldn't change anything in terms of because everything that you've experienced makes you the man you are today,
mm,
as they
absolutely,
say.
absolutely.
Um, yeah. So, but yeah, so in terms of so that's how I kind of ended up in the secondary school.
Yeah,
And yeah, in terms of that's but obviously towards getting older,
yeah,
my mum used to work a lot, so she's never been a stay-at-home mum
yeah,
or
yeah.
like kind of receiving benefits.
Bro,
She's been,
what was that like for you when? Okay, so mum's not at home. I'm in secondary
yeah,
school, and I'm trying to navigate this. Like, what? How did you find out up here, bro? Like, what was it like for you up here, bro?
Um, I think it was probably in some respects it must have been lonely in terms
Yeah,
of like because you're spending a lot of time on your own.
yeah, yeah.
Um, in terms of
Did you adapt,
and
or did you just get used to it?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think you get used to it. You get
okay.
used to it in terms of like you're spending a huge amount of time on your own. But to be real honest with you, I don't even like recollect a lot of it,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
because in terms of, but then obviously you would be entertaining yourself by the TV,
yeah,
reading, and just going out and seeing friends,
yeah,
literally. So, but in terms of like when my mum was around, she was around. We would, have jokes, go parties,
yeah,
whatever. But she worked, so and she worked full time, and she would sometimes would work 2 or 3 jobs to kind of make
yeah.
sure we were good. So she was definitely always hustling and trying to do her best for.
Bro, that is unique. I see why it's unique now because it's like
Mm.
mom's, like dad's not even in the picture. Mom's gone. She
Yeah,
has to do what she has to, and now that you're alone, it's like as if that you don't have to raise yourself and
that's
just
right. Yeah,
that is
that's right.
unique. I get that, bro. I get that. Yeah,
And the thing is that not only you have to you kind of you internalize a lot of things as well in terms
yeah,
of you internalize a lot of conversations. You grow yourself, but then you sometimes in some aspects you grow quicker. Um, and I think you also, for me anyway,
yeah, bro.
because some people go the other way, but so
Yeah,
it's not unique. But for me, it kind of it grew me like in terms of emotional intelligence and
yeah,
understanding things, being able to analyze, sit back and kind of analyze things properly.
yeah,
Because, like I said, I've spent a lot of time
yeah,
being able to process and think things through
yeah.
on the thing. So yeah, it's
And
but
then
yeah, that's the
when you
answer.
transitioned from that phase to a teenager, so now you're just coming into early manhood. What was that like the college years and then growing up from there, bro? How did you
Well,
navigate that?
so the teenagers, like I
Yeah,
said, um, and again, it's like you're this newly African kid coming into the country. You got the accent. You're not quite sure about this new society,
yeah,
and then you go into like like so you're following the crowd in terms of some
yeah,
of the guys
yeah,
in the state, and then you go into secondary school, um, which Henry Compton, and you have your good, bad, and ugly
yeah.
within that space.
Absolutely.
You
That's
have
the
your good,
life.
bad, and but then at the same time, there was also great people that came out of there. Like
Yeah,
I'm sure that there are 1 or 2 doctors that has come out of there and so forth. So, but all boys school, within that space. Um, so teenage years was, I think, obviously when you're coming into your teenage years,
yeah,
you're a lot of it. You're trying to you grow a new identity as well, depending on the year that you are. So, like in the first few years,
yeah,
I think like in secondary school, you're kind of trying to, especially the first part, you're trying to assert yourself, not get
yeah.
bullied.
Absolutely.
You're in this, you're in this new environment with all these like bigger guys and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff. So you're trying to assert yourself in some kind of, or at least get some allies on board. Um, and then when you start to, I guess, get to like year 13
yeah,
ish, now you and your cohorts become the big boys in the school.
yeah.
So there was times when I think
Can I just stop you there? Do you think that you formed your own identity, or was it like I didn't have an identity, so I'm gonna go with the group?
um I would say probably when I first came into the school, I went
Yeah,
with like maybe one of my best friends kind of identity, or like, so it was not necessarily the group, but like I was following one particular friend of
yeah,
mine.
yeah, yeah,
um and that's kind of the decision why I kind of chose, like, they most of everybody said, oh, we're going to this school,
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, let's go to that school kind
Ah,
of thing.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it happened to be local in the area as well.
Mm.
Um, but I think I started to kind of within like year 13 kind of start developing my own identity.
Mm.
Because all right, so in terms of I was like, most teenagers,
Mm.
boisterous, whatever. I was trying to go down that road in some aspects of like, you know, doing all kinds of nonsense within the
Yeah, yeah.
school.
Mm.
Um, what's his name? There was some aspects of bullying and all that kind of,
Mm.
but then I wasn't going. When I mean that I formed my own identity, I wasn't going as far as some of the other guys within the school as well,
Yeah, yeah,
or within the local area at the same
yeah.
time. Um, so and there was that kind of burning thought in my back of my mind. There was always a burning thought at the back of my mind. Is like number one, it's just you and your mum. Like,
Mm.
you're not letting her down. Number two was like you're this African kid who's got this chance that your mum has given you
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
you can't waste it. There are so many thousands of like, and I used to think this at like age 13, and that's what
Mm.
has kept me, in terms of not gone to
Focus.
prison.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, kept me focused, not gone to prison or done like because so many people, as you know, would have
yeah,
from Henry Crompton has gone to prison for some reason or another.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so in terms of that's what's kind of kept me focused. I
yeah,
used to think to myself, you know, there are so many kids that literally, if they had the opportunity, they will make the best of it. And you're here just about to go and waste this. Like, what's going on? That's the kind of mentality that I had, and that's kind of what kept me focused
Well,
in
so
in the place.
it sounds like that responsibility kept you on track. Just like
Yeah, I
throughout
would
your
say
life,
so.
that's the thing that gave you focus. And so, like you thought, okay, it's just me and mum. Oh, and then it's just that realization what you just said about
Yeah,
okay, not a lot of people have that opportunity. Ah,
I, I would say so. And to be real honest with you, it keeps me focused up to today in terms of even some of the things I want to do, even at my age in the future. This is
yeah.
what the bedrock and the foundation is in terms of
Is mum
being
still
able to
around,
do.
bro? I mean, she's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
got. Oh, she okay, good.
she's still around. Yeah, just talking to her just 5 minutes ago, actually.
Yeah. Oh,
But yeah, so yeah, in terms of
okay.
that thinking. Sorry,
Yeah. No,
go,
no, no,
go on.
go, 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 go.
Yeah, that thinking is what is keeping me focused even today,
Yeah.
and keeping me ambitious because it's what informs me to want to kind of give back.
Ah. So,
Mm.
so she actually laid the grounding for you without even realizing it, bro. You know what I mean? That's deep. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. It's
I
it's.
think
I think it's.
yeah. Go on, bro.
No, I think it's is an important thing. But also I've had so much opportunity to kind of sit back and think for myself as well, more
Yeah.
than anything else. So yeah.
How did you form your identity in like when you was in your 20s and above? Like what happened in that phase of your life?
Um. So within like what early 20s, I mean, within early 20s, you're teenagers, end of teenagers.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Again, you're with that kind of thing. You're for me, like you can go one or two various ways, kind of
Mm.
thing. So one of the key things that kind of led me again is this kind of underlying opinion of not wasting this opportunity that you've got
Yeah.
um, for everything. So I ended up going to college. I got into like so in Heracomp well in school I didn't get the best grades.
Yeah.
I came out with not many GCSEs at all.
Yeah.
um so but I was just lucky in terms of I wanted to go college. I
Mm.
wanted to kind of probably make my parent or make my mum proud and whatever
Yeah.
else kind of thing. I'm from Nigeria, so
Yeah.
the parents do have a what's the word,
An
a strict
expectation.
education expectation.
Expectation.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
There you go. So but like they knew that I wasn't going to be a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer because I was dyslexic.
Ah,
So being obviously dyslexic, that made some schooling parts very difficult.
yeah,
Um, so, but nevertheless, I mean, I kind of went to apply to go to college,
yeah, bro.
and I got super very lucky. I was blessed. I'll even go to say as far as to blessed because what happened is that at the interview, the woman saw my grades and she was like, "No, you can't do this course.
Okay.
You're not gonna pass this kind
Yeah,
of thing."
yeah, yeah.
And but like she had I think it was she had a computer there, and I knew how to do things on the computer, so I was like, "Oh, let me sort that out for you." And as I'm sorting it out, she's just like, oh, she looked at me and goes, all right, do you know what? Just get on the course. I think you can, just literally, just because of her problem, just solving her problem, she could probably understand that I can learn. And if education is about being able to learn something,
Mm.
she understood that I could, learn and indoctrinate something.
Bro, so see from fast forward, so we
Yeah.
fast forward to the colleges to now, you've met your missus, say for example,
Yeah.
had your first child. What was that like having your first child, bro, from that moment? What was it?
Well, yeah, so in terms of met my missus.
Yeah.
I was introduced to my missus through a friend actually.
Okay.
Um, so obviously we were going out, courting and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and then we got married, and yeah, about a year and a half later, had my
Yeah.
son. My first son, who's now
Oh,
14.
Queen.
So
That's your eldest, isn't it?
yeah, that's
Your
my
eldest.
oldest.
Okay.
So it's, I think it was a bit of a whirlwind in terms of
Yeah.
don't kind of you don't realize it until because you know what it was, yeah, when I think I
Yeah.
was when I was about 20 something years old,
Yeah.
like in my back of my mind I always said, oh yeah, I want a family by this age,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and it kind of did kind of fit into that mold that I put for myself.
Yeah.
So I think I was about 28 or
Yeah.
something like that. So I think it was kind of natural, but at the same time, I mean, I was, I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, it's terms of you kind of think to yourself, wow, you created,
Yeah.
this, you created this child in some aspects in terms of you helped, create this child. So
Bro,
it was unreal. It was
let me
unreal.
trigger
Of course.
some things here, bro. Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
like, okay, when I had my first child with my missus, what happened is this: the whole experience shaped up everything, bro. It shaped up my routine. It shaped up my
Mm,
goals. It shaped up my
mm,
direction in life, even my identity. Meaning, like, okay, all right, I'm a father. That fitted in naturally, but then
mm.
it's the routine that shook up
Yeah.
everything, bro. It's like then you kind of lose your identity, your balance. And at that point, what was it like for you when these things took place? How did you ground yourself, bro?
I think it's similar to yourself. It
Yeah,
definitely um, started to shape up a lot of the things that I did,
yeah,
who I saw and all that kind of thing. But
yeah,
I think
yeah,
for some reason, I had some aspects of those things in place
yeah,
prior to that. When I met my miss, that I had a business and all that kind of. So, all right. So yeah, there was definitely a shake up. So in
yeah,
terms of, I had a business
yeah,
um, which was a community radio station.
yeah.
So
I
it
remember.
was,
Yeah, I remember, bro. Yeah,
yeah,
I remember back in the day.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, but that business wasn't making that much money
yeah,
at that stage. And then obviously, when you've got now a new family, like
yeah,
you said, tough decisions needs to start being
yeah,
made.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So it shaped, that kind of aspects of
yeah,
it. Um, then I went off obviously to the world of work
yeah,
um, because with the provision,
Yeah, yeah,
and you get to the point of where you're kind of hustling to
yeah,
to make sure that there's. But
absolutely.
I think it brought a lot of discipline.
How many kids
Definitely
you
a
got,
lot
bro?
of discipline.
One or a few? How many kids you got?
How many?
Yeah.
Oh, three. I got three.
So you got one elder son, and the other two, what was it, boy, girl? Or?
A boy who's 11, just
Oh,
turned 11, and
uh,
a young girl who's 5 now. She's gonna be 6 in June.
okay, okay, cool, cool. All right. So and then the other two. Okay, so there was quite a bit of a gap there, innit? Between the
Yeah.
14. Okay, so and then now that you got three, what's that like as a father, bro? What are you juggling now? So what, you got your work, you got your own health, you got your own family. How do you do that, bro? How do you balance that without going crazy, bro? Losing your mind, bro?
The key thing is discipline and I guess consistency. To be real honest with you,
Yeah.
um, for instance, like I tend to wake up about 5:30 in the morning, no
Okay.
matter what time I go
Nice.
to bed. Yeah, so I go up, I get up about 5:30 in the morning. I
Yeah.
go gym, try to go gym every day.
Yeah.
On the weekends, I I mean, I definitely, in terms of your brain time, your man time, your
Yeah. Yeah.
mental
Yeah.
health, is key for me, because then it's also that I can show them,
Yeah.
and start to
Yeah.
kind of show them some of those kind of key attributes that they need to
Yeah.
kind of have in their, most of what we show our kids, 90% of it is nonverbal. It's not actually what you tell them, is what you're actually doing.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
100%
so
Yeah.
yeah, so basically, like the fact that my son sees, like, he's even what those 14-year-old, he can go to my gym now, so he's got now a membership, and now he wants to start going at 6 a.m. with me. I go cycling, so for instance today at lunchtime, I went for a cycle. So for myself, in terms of the journey of me still being a father,
Yeah.
um I need to look after my body, my health, my mental health, all those kind of things. um in terms of them, is also, you know, as fathers, as parents, we are very ambitious for our children. We definitely want the best for them, and we want to make sure that they have a foothold on, whatever they choose to do.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I work, like I was saying to you the other day, I work in the healthcare sector. So I consult for like people like the NHS and like some private medical things.
Bro,
Um,
let me ask something about the health side of things. With your son, what's the is there some kind of emotional connection between you and your son? Like with your bonding? Reason why I ask that, because from a lot of fathers, including
mm,
myself, we're from an era where the emotional connection didn't exist at all. It was just tackle the whatever it is head on, forget your emotions, put it to the side, and
yeah,
just crack on. But now it's different, bro. That's why I'm asking that.
it's, I think it's different, but at the same time, it's in some aspects is the same.
Okay.
Um, and in terms of the reason why I was like, for instance, I would say sometimes I look at my son and I think, well, life is like, because let's say, for instance, we grew up in, the very working class
Yeah,
situation.
yeah,
Like I feel like for myself, one parent at home and all that kind of stuff. Whereas now my son is, I guess, in the middle class or lower middle
yeah,
class, whatever you want to call it. But there's a little bit more income in the house.
yeah,
Um, I drive him to school.
yeah,
In terms of, I think sometimes it can he can feel a little bit soft. He's not taking full advantage of,
yeah, yeah.
what I believe. But that could just be because, like I always kind of sometimes tell him, I said, look, I never had a father who drove me to school.
Wow.
Um, these kind of things. I never I
Yeah.
never have a father who can advise me on these things and
Bro,
whatever.
hold that point there. Hold that point. That is interesting. Look, check this out, bro. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what you lacked in your own upbringing, you're filling in the gap with your own child,
Mm,
and your understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Might be in a way that, you know what, I'm gonna give my son or my child whatever it is that I lacked. Yeah,
yeah.
but that may not be the best for him.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, what happened to you made you that man, tough, and you see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like now we think, okay, maybe because I like this, I'm gonna give it to my son, but that could be at his detriment, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like,
And I see that sometimes
how do you
because
balance that? Like, yeah,
I'm quite. I see that sometimes. So, for
yeah,
instance, like when my son, he's in the local football team,
yeah,
uh, so I take him like on a Sunday, and obviously I'm quite, because I'm not saying I'm super tough. I'm not like,
yeah, yeah,
but I'm quite tough, and I like to see a complete level of effort in everything you do,
yeah, yeah,
kind of thing. Um, and sometimes he'll go and just it doesn't look like he's putting in effort,
yeah,
and therefore I would kind of call him out on it in
yeah.
terms of you should be putting in effort. This is but then I can see the kind of withdrawal.
Ah,
So then I have to step back and think, okay, well, maybe he's just like that saying where a lot of people is you're just not built like me.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
not built.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's not built like me for a reason. And at the same time, you also have to. Sometimes I have to check myself and say, do you know what? He's only like 14 years old. How was I when I was 14? I don't even kind of start. Because a lot of kids or people only kind of really start to see tough situations when they get into their late teens and early
Yeah,
20s. They only really start to realize what life is about. I'm kind of it's almost sometimes when I get like you were saying, when you have lack, you're trying to force that lack situation
yeah,
down your child's throat
yeah,
to
yeah,
let them know that life is tough
yeah,
and you need to be tough to kind of you know meet it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
sometimes you just have to let them make their own mistakes.
Absolutely, absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, see, what kind of leadership style would you say that you are towards your son? Are you the one who leads from the front or from the back now? Or has those positions changed through time?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it depends on scenarios.
Ah,
It depends on a different number of scenarios. So
yeah,
sometimes I lead from the front,
yeah.
like again with like things like training and all that kind of
Ah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Of course.
I'm setting an example. I'm going out there. He's seeing me. Like even just yesterday, I went for a walk. He said he was going to come with me,
Yeah.
and he said if he comes with me, he knows that I'm going to turn it into a jog. So, so I said, no, it's cool. We could just go for a walk. He
Yeah.
goes, oh, no. So sometimes, yeah. So sometimes I lead from the front, but then sometimes I lead with just advice,
Ah,
and
yeah.
I know that sometimes he's not going to take it, but hey,
Yeah.
at least I've kind of spoken, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I mean, one of the things, like I said, I drive him to school.
Yeah.
Like most mornings, I'm quite lucky in terms of obviously the job that I do.
Yeah.
I could take him to school, and so on our way, we'll just have conversations, and
Yeah.
you know, that's where we can kind of unpack just me and him.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the oldest one at the
That's nice.
moment.
That's nice, bro. That's nice.
Yeah. So we just have conversations where we can unpack in the car,
Yeah.
um, discuss about whatever is going on. So there's that kind of thing.
Yeah. How do you discipline him? Like, say that he's not listening. What does your approach look like, bro?
I mean, what works with these, especially these kids kind of nowadays, is just
Yeah.
literally, we've got like a gaming room that we set up within our house,
Yeah.
for the kids. So it's just like their little play area, and literally we just ban them from the room, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just something like that, kind of just straightens them up quickly,
Yeah.
you know. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of mostly
Yeah.
what I do at the
Yeah.
moment. Just literally, you're not going in there. Um, that will straighten him up. Or just take his phone away.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's about just the gadgets and the play. Bro,
yeah,
but how do you speak to your son? Like, what does that look like? Do you shout? Do you react? Do you or or it just depends on the situation again. Like sometimes you've got
I
to raise
think
your
it will
voice.
depend on, yeah, because
Yeah,
there might be some times where like we've done something crazy and I'll have
yeah,
to
yeah,
kind of, express some emotion,
yeah,
um, which is normal. But then at the same time, like there are times when like there's no even words doesn't even kind of equate to
yeah,
maybe necessarily how disappointed you are. He just gets to look and he understands that that
yeah,
he's disappointed, kind of thing. But then at the same time, it's like then again, but a lot of it is about that time in the car
yeah,
that I could have, that, I can spend and kind of implement some knowledge into him. Um, I think is really valuable in terms of
yeah,
that time between dropping him off from the house to dropping him off.
yeah,
Just little, because every day you're picking up on, maybe for instance how he dresses to school. Just little bit you're picking up on, like his attitude
yeah, yeah,
for learning and all those kind of things. You kind of see these things quite clearly, so you're able to address it there and then, kind
yeah.
of thing. So yeah,
Well, I want to ask you something else. As well. Has there been a time where sometimes the way that your son may speak to you, you feel like you're the kid, like they may come across like as if like they're speaking to you like as if they're the authority. Have you ever had those kind of moments?
yeah, absolutely. I had it the other day. He was, for instance, he wanted lunch money. I can't even remember. Yeah, he wanted lunch money. Well,
How do you do
I would say,
that?
I would say that's a little bit, but yeah, he wanted lunch money. He texted me. He goes, "Oh, daddy, can you send me some?" Like, I was like, "Okay, cool." He goes, "Are you doing it? Yes or no?" I was like, huh? I just sent him two question marks. Would you? And then he goes, "Oh no, no, I'm sorry." Like,
Oh, bro.
but it's but it's to be expected. Like my son is quite. I'm quite big. Like in
Yeah,
terms of weight, and my son getting big as well.
yeah,
So in a couple of years, he's gonna be a big guy.
yeah,
You know, for instance, the other day he had when for his 40th birthday,
yeah,
he had a party. He had all the cousins around, and they were doing wrestling, WWE. So
yeah,
set,
yeah,
I set up the area. I put all the soft cushions on the
yeah,
floor so that they can do some wrestling, like supervised by myself.
yeah,
Um, and then they wanted to wrestle me, and he's wanting to wrestle me, and
yeah,
all that
yeah,
kind of, So I mean, we have that kind of playful relationship, and we can kind of do those kind of things. But then obviously he's getting to the age where he thinks that he's bigger than daddy.
yeah,
You get what I'm trying to say? So, like, sometimes you just have to put him in a place and just let him know that you got a couple of years still, but then at the
yeah,
same time, you, but then also you have to encourage him because that there's going to be a stage where he's going to be bigger than
yeah,
daddy.
yeah, that's what I want.
So, but yeah, I think, but I don't also want to kind of muddy coddle him too
Yeah,
much as a
yeah, yeah,
man.
yeah,
In terms of, I do believe they need to be toughened up in terms of, because life hasn't necessarily changed that much in
yeah,
terms of relationships and all that kind of, but life and getting by hasn't changed that much.
yeah,
The systems that existed 30, 20, 30, they still exist,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and so they need to kind of have a way to navigate um and understand that the
Bro,
systems.
what do you think us men and the youth struggle with today then, bro?
Oh, I think a lot, I would say complacency, like in terms of
No.
a lot of us are very complacent in terms of
Well, as fathers,
some,
what as us fathers?
the fathers, well, those who are there for the kids are
Yeah,
there for the kids, and
yeah,
they're trying to. So, but I think I'm just kind of looking at society, especially the single mother
yeah,
like generation, like looking at, let's say, for instance, example of my mothers. I'm not saying that all single mothers right now, but there's a greater number that exist now than obviously like 20 years ago, whatever else.
absolutely. Yeah,
And also And again, don't quote me on this, but I'm not sure because I haven't got no stats. But
Yeah, bro.
in terms of, I think based on that greater number, there's a greater number of people who are not working and who are not showing their kids
Yeah,
amazing example. There are some that will be, hustling, getting out there,
yeah,
getting it done by themselves. Um, so therefore, yeah. So we there's got to be there's a society, and I think there's a bigger kind of what's the word? Obviously, a societal issue in terms of
what have you seen so far, bro?
that's what I'm saying into the
Yeah,
complacency issue in terms of the society issue of we'll give you this, look after yourself and blah blah blah,
yeah,
but they're not seeing that hustle, that grind. They don't know what life is about. They
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
that you
yeah,
need to get out there and achieve and all that kind of stuff. So that's one part of the complacency.
yeah,
In terms of men, I think there's some complacency in the men as well, in terms of like obviously brothers are just going out there doing this and getting girls pregnant and not necessarily,
yeah,
but then the ones who are staying, let's say for instance the fathers who are good
yeah,
and they're in day out, trying to do what they do. Um, I'm not really. I mean, I can only speak for my close ones
yeah, of
who
course.
I see are getting out there, kind of trying to get the bread in, trying to kind of look after their family,
Yeah,
and pick them up from ballet and pick them up from karate and
yeah,
swimming, and so there are a lot of guys who are out there and parents who are out there who are still striving to do what they need to do for their kids. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I think, but in terms of what are we? Your question is,
What are we struggling with, do you think, bro? What is that us men are struggling
except
with?
from obviously a lot of people are struggling financially. I'm just
Yeah,
looking, thinking a lot of people are struggling financially at the moment. Um, I think vision as well. Some people,
okay.
um, in terms of vision, ambition,
Ah,
um,
that's an
yeah, like
important one, bro. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's an
yeah,
important one.
and then also kind of not. Like for instance, one of the things that I've kind of implemented within the house was to
Yeah.
have like a family meeting day. But
Okay.
these are just things I'm kind of learning from different places and
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
else. So what we tried to do is have a family meeting day on Wednesdays, whereby like everybody has to come around the table and we just discuss things.
yeah, yeah,
Um, we discuss like you know even if we don't eat dinner Monday, Tuesday, together, but on
yeah,
Wednesday we have to, and we sit down and kind of just discuss. And even my like little daughter she will be the one that's calling the meetings. If I
yeah.
forget
That's
or
cute,
if I'm
bro.
tired, yeah,
That's
yeah, like
cute.
it gets to the point of where they start to call the meeting, and at these meetings they can also. That's the bit where they can also tell us off for not doing
Yeah.
certain things.
They hold you to
Uh,
account, innit? You know?
Basically, they
Yeah,
can hold us to account, um, and it's good for them. It's good for them.
yeah,
So I think, yeah, I'm not sure in terms of what other people, but if you look into society
yeah, bro.
and maybe all of the things that are happening, all the stabbings and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff, then you kind of start to think, yeah, what is going on? But I guess are people too busy? Are people complacent? Are people
Yeah.
like what is going on? But
Bro, after speaking to quite a lot of brothers, what I've come to realize is we're facing a number of battles. One of them is
mm,
technological advances like the devices. That's
yeah,
one. Then you got mental health issues. You got
mm,
divorce breakups, marital
yeah,
issues. You got another one with health issues. You got another one with just depression, being overwhelmed, anxiety, and the pressure to perform. Then you got one
mm,
with identity. It's who am I now? Like, and another one is on masculinity. So we're having to juggle all of these things all at the same time, bro. You know, so
yeah, exactly.
it's not
You're
even just one
absolute.
battle.
I
Like, we're
think
going through a number of battles, bro.
yeah, no, you're absolutely. I mean, the masculinity issue, like
Yeah,
for instance, you can't be in society right now. You can't be too seen as too masculine,
yeah,
but
yeah,
at the same time, you can't lie to yourself and
yeah,
whatever. So You're absolutely right. I think in terms of the technological issues, um, like for instance today, I had to. I was calling my middle son.
Yeah,
Um, I called him like maybe twice or something, and he's not coming down. He's saying, "Oh yeah, I'm coming," but
yeah,
he was on his iPad. But he's smart, so we kind of let him, and he does his work and he's really hard working or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. He
But
earns it
I think,
basically.
sorry,
He
yeah,
earns it.
but
So
yeah, I don't think that you ever earn it to that level of where you're
okay.
being rude or
Yeah, yeah,
disrespectful,
yeah.
like, in terms of I'm calling you and you're not coming down. But anyway, so he's not coming down. So I just banned him from the iPad. Like, obviously he's campaigning, complaining, but it's simple as I called you down, and I was calling him down to come and eat dinner. But he's not doing what he was. So it's almost like it's become an addictive thing. But then at the same time,
Yeah,
we can't. One of the key things is that we can't, I guess, deprive our children from technology. The reason, and the reason why I say this is because it's the future. So what
yeah,
we need to do is teach them how to use technology for their benefit and not just to consume.
yeah.
Um,
Got you.
that's the key thing. So, like for instance, like me and my sons. Well, like one of my sons, he said, "Oh, well, two of them, they want a pet, they want a dog in the house."
Yeah,
So I said, "Cool, if you want a dog, no problem. Let's do that." However, they wanted so my son he's quite business orientated, whatever, like, and he said, "Oh," so we set up a business together. So it's like a Shopify shop that we're kind of putting together. I said, "You need to do all of the social media marketing and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff." So he's learning some marketing things, social media
yeah,
stuff, and so that's what I mean by in terms of the future, in terms of they need to learn how to use these things, but it shouldn't just be to consume only.
yeah.
They need to know how to be producers and actually to do things on there.
Bro,
Um,
how do you? Because do you know what the struggle is? The struggle is this as well. Yeah, it's I've got my phone, my dad's speaking to me, or
mm,
my mom's speaking to me, and I'm just on the phone,
mm,
or the dad's caught up scrolling, and the scrolling in itself has become addictive. It's gone to the point where even in our circles of friends, we could be in a gathering, bro, and rather than I'm talking to you face to face, my friend over there is on the phone, this brother's on the phone, and I'm on the
and
phone.
sending you
Like,
and sending you memes.
yeah, yeah,
And you're sending memes in the same place.
yeah.
No, absolutely. I think, but again, I think it's like,
Where do we draw the line? Like, where's the line? Because they see us on it, and they're on it as
yeah,
well. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I, I'm not gonna lie. Like for instance, I have what to be real honest, I with you thinking about it, I haven't had one, but I have like social media cleanses
yeah,
sometimes in terms of
yeah,
I'll just delete the app for like a month, 2 months, or whatever. So they can they see me kind of on it sometimes, but then sometimes a long period of time they won't see me on it at all.
yeah.
So those kind of things is, I guess, again, just leading from the front and kind of showing examples. But I believe, because probably because of who I am and
Yeah,
how I've grown up, I believe in human contact a lot,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
face to face conversation,
Absolutely, bro.
you know,
Absolutely.
with people and whatever
Mm.
else. So that's kind of key to me.
Bro,
It's not only
see on that point, do you think we're getting far away from those human interactions, like just
absolutely,
on communication level?
absolutely. I mean, in terms of often, like for instance, people being able to kind of just being out there, communicate. Often, I mean, that's why things like, I mean, a lot of event spaces, various different things are just closing down these days. That
Yeah,
because people don't want to be out interacting with each other. They
yeah,
want to be in their house on social media, which is, it's crazy because, like, again, I've the most important kind of value is, and what we're I guess created for is to kind of interact with each other
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in kind of
Back
that's
to
where
basics, bro. Back to the
yeah that's
basics.
where ideas are born. That's
Yeah,
where,
yeah,
a lot. I mean, most of some of the stuff that, all right, some of the stuff I've kind of implemented and learned within, let's say, for instance, over my marriage
yeah,
and kids. Some of it's come off social media, so
yeah.
it's
Mm.
not. It's not like there's an amazing podcast I've learned about like finance and all that kind of.
Yeah,
A lot of that has come off social media. Like 10 years ago, who I don't know anybody who's a multi-billionaire who would give you that level of financial information.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So that kind of stuff has come off social media, and which is extremely valuable.
yeah,
Um, However, it just matters what you're spending your time doing on it, I
yeah,
guess. That's what I'm trying to, because there are people who will just be watching the most absurd things
yeah, 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 yeah.
all day in, day out kind of thing. Um, yeah, it's definitely kind of shrank the world in terms of proximity, being able to kind of get information, but at the same time, it's like you said, it's made people very isolated
Yeah.
in their thinking as well. So yeah.
Bro, I mean, what's the best way to go forward now? Like, despite what's happening, what do you think that we
Mm,
need as men when we're facing all these challenges, financial, health, mental, technological? I mean, what would you advise someone who's tuning in, bro? Like, what would that one piece of advice be to just take a step?
I think you would, a brother, or you definitely need to find yourself and find your rhythm, find your discipline, find your own discipline, find your own like consistency. But
Yeah,
most important is one of the things is like your vision, what God has put in your heart, kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
Because I guess that's what makes all the difference, in terms of that's what I don't know.
bro. Let me question that a bit further. Okay, so
Mm,
would something have to take place in my life for me to get to that point? Like, I'd have to be backed up against the wall, or like say, you know what, enough is enough. Do I have to wait for that moment
mm.
to think, okay, you know what, I
No,
need to focus. I need to what? Because where
no,
do
no.
we
I
get
think.
to that place?
I mean, to be real honest with you,
Yeah, bro.
I'm just trying to kind of picture myself as
Mm,
let's say, for instance, as a person who's never had any ambition for anything, and
yeah.
you know, it's, I hate to say like, but yeah, if somebody's never had any ambition for anything, never seen any kind of role models achieve
Ah,
anything,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, these kind of things. But then now you have things like social media
yeah,
that, even though they're not your direct role models, they can still be a role model in the distant kind
yeah,
of thing. You can still model yourself on, you know, as a starting point before you meet people along the way or whatever else. So, but you again, you need to want it for yourself.
yeah,
You need to like, some people are spared on by becoming a father.
yeah,
Some
yeah,
people are spared on by becoming married. Some people are just spared on by their natural gut instincts of ambition and God
yeah,
vision that is given to them. Some people are spared on when they hit rock bottom.
yeah. It
So
varies, I guess, isn't it? Yeah.
it varies, but then some people never
Find it.
find themselves.
Yeah.
They to be real honest with you, not that they don't even find themselves. They spend their time running away from themselves.
Um,
Um, they want to run the opposite way because
From the
you know
trouble.
it's simpler.
Bro, do you think as fathers we can play a massive impact in helping them with that from grassroots? Say, for example, the more involved that we are, because it causes all kind of problems years down the line when we're not active, when we're not involved. Do you think that
Mm.
as us fathers we contribute towards that?
I think as fathers we need to kind of, again, like you said, is lead from the front, but then
Yeah,
also lead from the back as
yeah,
well. And also when the time calls, like maybe just be a friend side by side,
yeah,
um, with your son, daughter, or whoever else.
yeah.
Um, and if you can if you can achieve that for even kids that are not your own, um,
Okay.
like, coming back to the village mentality thing,
Yeah,
it takes a village to raise a child and all that kind
yeah,
of stuff.
yeah,
If you have close, trusted proximity to a child that you can mentor in some kind of way, then that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you should, definitely kind of you like for instance, when I was I'll give you a clear example
Yeah.
quickly. When I was working in the college, about 2 years or a couple of years ago anyway, there was this young guy who, to be real honest, he was in a media course that so I was teaching on, and he was
Yeah.
misunderstood by some of my colleagues. So you know, he was misunderstood. Like he used to come in baggy this,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
hanging down, all that kind of stuff. But the guy was like a nice little guy. He was like a nice kid. He wasn't too much trouble. He was
Yeah.
loud, but that's just teenage
Yeah.
bravado
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
kind of thing. So it came to a point, long and behold, that they were trying to get rid of him in the
Okay.
school. Yeah, literally, one of the teachers was, really trying to get rid of him. And like, so I spoke to the vice president of the school and said, "Look, I will take him under my wing."
Okay.
Like, so she came to me and said, "Look, this guy's becoming a problem. Like, I don't really want to get rid of him,
Yeah.
but this one is kind of trying to force me to get rid of him, kind of thing."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I said, "Look, I'll take him under my wing and just make sure that he gets through." Because at the same time, to be real honest with you, it was like deadline. So he only had a couple of months to finish college.
Okay.
So that would have ruined, like, I guess, wasted 2 years of his time if they would have just got rid of him just like that. Um, long and story short, he got a 2-1 from like college, which was like a really good grade.
Hmm.
He's now in university. Well, he went to university, smashed it, and now he's in a career, getting
Wow.
married next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
getting married next
Wow.
year. So, and he still calls me like up to today. We still have communication.
Yeah.
Um, but imagine if I didn't step in, or I just thought, "Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
none of my business," kind of thing. They would have just let that woman would have like just let him kind of go
Well, that's
wayward.
yeah. Yeah.
Who knows what level of mental health he might be facing
Yeah.
today? Who
Yeah.
knows what kind of issues that he will be, I'm trying to get. So yeah, there's if you can, if there are people out there that you have close proximity with in whatever aspects, and you can mentor them,
Yeah.
definitely it's something that is important.
Bro, another thing I want to ask you, what is it like as a father raising a daughter? Is there any differences between raising a son?
Definitely, but I think
Yeah,
fathers they're usually softer on their daughter, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Just
yeah, of course.
it's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
Um, but
I mean,
yeah,
are the boundaries the same with your son and your daughter, or are they kind of
no,
different?
no, no, no. Their expectations is different.
Ah, okay.
Even the expectations is different. Um, in terms of you're kind of expecting different outcomes and boundary. Like obviously, my daughter's especially being the youngest in that family as well. She's the princess
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
that family. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. She's the princess, so she would push boundaries even more than the
Yeah,
men. But at the same time, you have to kind of caution them. But you're expecting a different. You're expecting something completely different for your daughter in
yeah,
terms of the outcome and all that. Um, in terms of, let's say, for instance, because again, I have man-to-man talks with my second son as
yeah,
well. In terms of like, I teach him, things and all that kind of stuff. I don't drop him to school. He's gonna be going secondary school in September, so he will be getting that morning talks
yeah, yeah,
soon. um, but yeah, like I mean, in terms of the advice I can give my daughter, it's not. Well, she's 5 at the moment, but I don't know if it will be good. I think it will be different. I can't as a teenager. I don't think I can give her that much advice. The only thing I can do is obviously male advice at some stage.
yeah,
But yeah, like and career advice, like surface level stuff. Like I think I'll have to leave the rest for her mum.
yeah, yeah. fair enough. But how would you nurture that one from now until she's older, bro? Like, what would that look like? The relationship.
I think, like, I mean, right now it's father daughter, very much a father daughter relationship,
Yeah,
very much a loving,
yeah, yeah,
kind of protective
yeah, yeah.
situation. Um, I think towards the teenage years, a lot of advice I've got for men and all that kind of stuff, kind of need to give them space, but just
Mm,
be available, kind of. Um, but ideally, it would be good to get her into something that really keeps her focus.
yeah,
Something like career wise or whatever else that really just focuses her and that she doesn't become distracted by
yeah.
any of the outside noise. That's the ideal situation. But yeah, we'll wait and see and see
Bro,
how it goes.
there was some valuable nuggets that you just dropped there that I can totally relate to. One of them was
Mm.
you said give them space to process
Yeah,
things. Yeah, that's
yeah,
that's valuable because my daughter went through a challenging situation with her mum, and she goes, "Look, Dad, I just need some space from her. I just." So
yeah,
she came to me rather than me trying to question her and just just interrogate her.
mm,
I just gave her the space because that's what they want, bro.
yeah,
Space to breathe, and then they'll come to you when they're ready. And it's just as simple as that. It's just like, hey, babes, what's happening? You're right,
yeah,
just
yeah,
trying to touch base and just that's it, bro. Little simple things like that. And it's like that thing that you were saying before. To sometimes in those kind of situations, I found to lead from the back, bro. Let them come to you. Let
yeah.
them go through the experiences, the pains, and then rather than me
That's
trying to
right.
enforce boundaries and say, look, don't do this, you can't do this. Da, 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 da. It's
Yeah,
in,
exactly,
in them kind of
exactly.
situations, I ended up like she came to me and bro, all I've done was sit her down and she was so thankful for that. She goes, Dad, thank you for that, Dad. That was it, little things like that, bro. And like I didn't
This
do
is
much,
it.
listened, and then I'm like, oh, okay, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, and to be real honest with you, like, I mean, the first child, my wife, I mean, they kind of operate in the same way in terms
Yeah,
of, um, like, for instance, obviously, us being natural men,
yeah,
and I've had to kind of learn a lot of these things. Um, is that because obviously, like I said, I didn't grow up with a dad, so I didn't have a
yeah,
male role model in the household to tell me, oh yeah, this is how you deal with a woman. So anyway, she would come and unpack a situation for me, but she's
okay,
not looking for me to solve it.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
looking for me to listen.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm trying to say? But us being men and
yeah,
wanting to solve things,
yeah,
we're looking, okay, well, I'm thinking, okay, well, this is the solution. This is what we should do.
yeah.
And that caused a lot of conflicts within
Wow.
like my relationship in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
beginning. But then when she just said, you know what, sometimes I just want you to listen. And then, I just listen now. I don't
That's
often
it. Yeah,
try and
yeah.
solve it. But then sometimes when you just listen, they say to you, oh, but I want you to go and do something. So
They put it in there.
I think it's, they just want to play games. But yeah.
Oh,